yes, I'm the great pretender. Pretending that I'm doing well.
Long before America was even an idea, this land of plenty was home to many peoples. To British and French, to Dutch and Spanish, to Mexican, to countless Indian tribes. We all shared the same land. We didn't always get along, but over the centuries, what eventually bound us together, what made us all Americans, was not a matter of blood. It wasn't a matter of birth. It was faith and fidelity to the shared values that we all hold so dear.
Is Obama a Frankenstein, or is this just the paranoia of the right, is today's question in the savage nation? Now, I have to ask it again. How can you overlook what this man has done to this country so far? Is he really the Frankenstein that the right wing makes him out to be? Or is this just a paranoid, racist projection of the far right? Well, let's look at the record itself. Let's look at what he's trying to do to this country and what he's done to this country. How can you overlook that Obama is not only assaulting our economy, he inherited a $1 trillion deficit, a courtesy of the socialist George Bush, and he immediately turned it into a $3 trillion deficit, rewarding not the American people who needed the money and jobs so badly, but rewarding the cronies who put him in power. Make no mistake about that. Now he is trying to destroy our military. He is trying to deracinate NASA, the greatest space agency the world had ever seen. He is trying to undermine our nuclear capacity. I can go down the list, and I will go down the list. Because, you see, I've saved virtually every one of his speeches, every one of his policies I've analyzed. I didn't just let him come and go like news stories. It's a passion for me to try to get this across to you. So it's not just about the economy, the election, as a famous pollster said on the show yesterday. It is also about our national identity and our security. You just heard a speech from Obama saying that the Mexicans were here before the Americans, before Anglos. Now, how does that serve America's interests? How does it serve America's interests for him to divide us and give a speech that you would hear from La Raza or groups like MALDEF, who are ultra-nationalist brown supremacists? Now, it's also about our national identity and our security. It's about our self-respect. Incidentally, President Obama has diminished our self-respect as a nation, in case you don't know it. And I don't think that that's something you can pose as a question from a pollster. I don't think you can ask people, has President Obama diminished our image in the world, and have it compute statistically? But I will tell you, on an instinctual level, I believe President Obama has diminished our image in the world. I dream of a leader. I dream of a leader that one day I'll wake up to, a leader that I'm proud of, who will actually get up and stand up and represent this nation in a manly way and project manliness on the world stage. I one day hope we'll have a leader who does not try to browbeat the American people while kowtowing to dictators. I'd like to see the reverse, where he browbeats Ahmadinejad, the Hitler of our time, and he stands up to them, and he doesn't try to browbeat the people in this country who are the real Americans. I want a manly leader along the lines of Putin, without the totalitarian instincts of Putin. I would like to see a manly leader of the United States of America to bring us back from the abyss of insignificance that we have inherited over the last 3 or 4 presidencies, manifested finally in the Franken presidency of Barack Hussein Obama. And this is all one man's opinion. It is only one man's opinion. Last week, Obama removed the word creator from the Declaration of Independence when he addressed a group called the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute, whatever that may be. Now, let me ask you something. This is a country that's supposed to be united, and you have groups called the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Well, where is the Congressional European American Caucus? How come that doesn't exist? Obama has divided this nation as it has not been divided since the age of Abraham Lincoln. Obama incorporated a part of the Declaration of Independence, but removes any reference to the word the creator. Why would he do that? Why would the Obama presidency do that? Why would the Franken presidency do that? Well, this goes to the heart of what's wrong with this president with regard to the American people. It's not that everyone is so fanatically religious, but most Americans understand that Obama is a naked political atheist. By every measure, Obama is everything that you do fear about him. But is he the Frankenstein that some make him out to be? No, not at all. He may actually be worse than Frankenstein. Why? Because, you see, Frankenstein was a fictional character, while Obama is a very real person. And Obama is so out of touch, not only with the history of America and what the people of America want for their future, that in some ways this man is worse than Frankenstein. Now, with regard to this president, everyone says the economy is the number one issue. And I don't doubt it, because if you don't have a job, nothing else really matters. But the subtitle of my new book, Trickle Up Poverty, happens to be Stopping Obama's Attack on Our Borders, Economy, and Security, and for a very good reason. Immigration is a huge, huge story, and yet it's not being talked about, it's not being polled. Why do I say immigration is a major story? Because it is one of the main underlying reasons for most of our economic problems. Why do I say that? I will explain it to you. When you have tens of millions of people who are A, not paying taxes, and B, stealing the poorest jobs in the country, and C, getting free medical care and free legal care, and in many cases free housing, what you are doing is pulling down the entire economy, and you're making poverty trickle up to the middle class. So, why do I say stopping his attack on our borders, economy, and security? Well, I explained it to you. I told you what the economy means. It's self-evident. But the man has also undermined our national security on every level, and as well, so many other things. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I open it up to you. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. Is Obama the Frankenstein that the right wing makes him out to be? Or is this just a paranoid projection of white racists? I'll let you think about that. I've given you some of the reasons I believe it's the latter, not the former. I will take your calls on the Savage Nation. Carrie in San Diego, go ahead, please.
Hi, Dr. Savage. I'm an immigrant just like you. My grandparents are Armenian. They escaped.
Well, hold on. I'm not an immigrant. I'm a first-generation American. My father was an immigrant. I don't want to, mislead people.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm a second-generation grandchild of immigrant Armenians who escaped out of Turkey. We were being massacred by the Turks, and I'm tired of
I think you need to define who massacred the millions of Armenians. When you say Turks, it has no meaning. You were meant by the Ottoman Turks, who were a Muslim, an army of Muslims.
That's exactly.
They burned Armenians in their churches. They killed millions of Armenians for religious reasons. It is one of the greatest holocausts of history that is completely ignored by the American media.
Exactly. And today on CNN, I'm appalled. It's worse than the Turks themselves denying the massacre. Now they're broadcasting that they're allowing us to have mass in an ancient Turkish church. The last time I checked, 99% of them are Islamic. There's no Turkish church. It's our church. It's Ahtamar at the lake in Vaughan.
Well, I don't think people understand that the Victory Mosque at Ground Zero is in a long line of such Victory Mosques. And the the Grand Mosque in Istanbul was in fact a cathedral for 1,000 years. And it was raided by the Ottoman Turks, and it was turned into a mosque after they destroyed the Christian presence there. The same thing is going on now around the world. Everyone who has a brain and understands history knows this is going on right under our noses, and it's being enabled by Barbara Boxer, Dick Durbin, Dianne Feinstein, Barack Obama, and every one of these left-wing wobbly anti-Americans.
Exactly. I thank you for bringing it up and bringing the history out.
Well, I'll tell you, my friends, and I'll tell you, you better stand up right now because you're not going to have a country left. When you have a president pandering to a brown supremacist group like the Hispanic caucus, whatever that means, how could you have a Hispanic caucus or a black caucus in a nation that's supposed to be united under one flag and one God? How in the world could these things have been created other than by divisive people who want... Now, it's one thing for these pressure groups to create their pressure groups. It's another thing for a president to go there and say, the Mexicans were here long before the white man. How does that serve the unity of this country? It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. At the risk of a displeasure, we're going to give you the phone number, 1-800-449-8255. We're open for business on Chicken Curry Tuesday here on the Savage Nation. Since I was out of town and didn't eat there for a few weeks, I needed to go get my lips sealed together in the Chinese restaurant that I love to hate. And I did. I have good indigestion right now, perfect for a show. We have talked about Obama the Frankenstein. We have played the speech of him. I didn't yet tell you what happened to me last night in my talks with my dog at a restaurant in Sausalito. And I will, the minute I come back, a little more about Teddy right here on the Savage Nation.
Savage.